isn't it? I'm not going to speak as quickly as Waggy and Mark because I'm nearly twice their age. I've got to be honest with you. So I'm 64, and I think am I the oldest one in this room? Apart from you, maybe. I don't know. Is that old are you?
Just turned 60.
Just turned 60, and I'm probably the smallest in the room. Yeah, I clocked you coming in. I thought, fucking girl, it's alright. There's not many perks to being 64, I've got to be honest. So I came in earlier on, I looked at the past, I mean, some of them down there, what, 12 at best? That's what they look like, and there aren't many perks when you get old. That said, I went to the Leicester Comedy Festival this year, and I entered the Silver Standard, and I won it. Let me just temper that, right? It's basically a competition aimed at the over 55s. That's pretty much it. There's no, I went, it's a little bit more than that. You've got to send in a video and you get invited, and I got there. There's no upper age limit to it. So backstage, it was like God's waiting room for comedians. One act, just before he's going to go on, we just glanced across and he sat there, eyes closed. Shit. Is he? Yeah. Is he asleep or dead? Somebody said, should we nudge him? No, fuck it, we'll increase our chances. And I went on, I got through the heat, got through to the final, and I won, and it was fantastic. And I phoned my wife, I said, listen, you're never going to believe that after 4 years of trying for this, I've only gone and won. And she's like, oh, that's fantastic. What have you won? Right, now you will have worked out from that. I am married to somebody from Mumbai. So I won a trophy. Anything else? No. I'm back home 2 hours later, I'm showing her the trophy. I'll ask you again. Anything else? No. Great. I've been on the website. Okay. When were you going to tell me about the £500 cash prize? I was gutted because I had that lined up for something else. I said, what have I told you throughout our marriage? I said, there's been so many fucking things I can't remember. I said, never lie. Never ever lie. That's fine, in theory. She went on a cruise at the end of April, 7 days. She phoned me on the Wednesday. Are you missing me? No. She started clutching at straws. Well, I bet the dog is. He fucking wasn't. It was fantastic. Me and him were having the best time. I was feeding him from the table. We were down the pub. We went and got tattoos. I did. And he can't speak, but he was sat there the one day just looking at me. And I was looking at him. He's like, oh, Dad, this is fantastic, isn't it? And yes, it is. Has she really got to come back? Like, yeah, unfortunately she has. And I didn't miss her, I've got to be honest, in the whole 7 days she was away. I didn't miss it, apart from the Saturday. Because on the Saturday, she left me instructions, don't forget to change the duvet. Right? 22 years we've been married, I have never changed the duvet in my life. We've got a king-size duvet. Look at the size of these eyes. You'll know this. 45 minutes I was wrestling with this fucking duvet. Got it all done, got it all smooth, everything, done all the buttons up, and then realised I've got 3 buttons left and no buttonholes. That was frustrating. She came home in the early hours of Sunday morning, me and the dog asleep inside the duvet cover. She was alright with that, but what pissed her off was the fact that I let the dog upstairs. Like, cause we tried to keep him out of the bedroom, because one, for hygiene reasons, but two, in the early days, when we had been intimate on those rare occasions, it was quite off-putting to have raised sharp puppy teeth bite in your ass. And the other day, I must have left the stair gate open, and he snuck up, and we were doing what we do in a fairly ironic position, and I just glanced round, and he's just sat by the bed, looking at me. And as I said, he can't speak, but the look in his eye was, right, okay. So you've got the audacity to tell me off for humping my cushion downstairs, and you're doing that? You just disgust me. I've got to be honest, that joke normally goes down far better. I liked it. You liked it? Oh, well done, Guy, thanks for that. She's, We did dry January this year. We still drank, just no sex. And it was her fault because before Christmas she said, like, we've been married 22 years. You don't have to bother getting me a Christmas present, so I didn't. Yeah, it was her birthday today. Got a spa day, that was wrong. Apparently she fucking hates grocery shopping. We celebrated Valentine's Day earlier this year, and I did a romantic thing. I phoned the florist, can I have some flowers for my wife? Yeah, do you want a card? Yeah. What would you like on the card? I just put to Lynn, love Nick. She said, do you want a kiss on the bottom? And that would be fantastic. What time do you want me there? She said, no, I meant on the bottom of the card. I said, I know. I'm a comedian, I was just making a joke. And quick as a flash, she said, I bet you don't get many gigs. Which was... It's harsh, isn't it? It is harsh. But we did celebrate Valentine's Day at home. And we were sat there, and Lynn said, can you remember how we first met? Vaguely. She said, well, I remind you, you had an advert in the Lonely Hearts column. In fact, you had two, but I only replied to one. I said, why was that? So in the second one, you put your height, right? I didn't know she had an issue with it. But thinking back, I can remember she asked me a question not long after we got together. How tall are you? I said, I'm 5'2". Yeah, but what's that in inches? I said, well, 62 inches wide. And she went like this, she said, do you realise you're only 2 inches taller than 5 of these put down on end to end? Again, that joke normally goes down 5. We were going to go to Alton Towers. I said, why don't we go to Alton Towers? Have a day out. Not much point wasting £62 if you're only going to be allowed on 3 rides. The following week I got home. Can I ask you a question? Yeah, what is it? How do you feel about being only 9 inches taller than the largest emperor penguin ever recorded? She googled it, right? She worked in a school at the time. I used to go and have coffee every now and again. I popped in this one day, she wasn't there, and the teacher said, you all right, Nick? Yeah, fine. You come for a coffee? Yeah, yeah. Fancy a biscuit? Yeah. Yeah, you're there. Why don't you pick up a penguin? So Strictly's come back. Are we Strictly fans? No. I've got to be honest, I felt a bit uncomfortable watching it. I'm not really into it, but I have got into it this series, and if you haven't watched it, one of the participants is Ellie Simmons, the Paralympian, you know, the little person, and I felt quite awkward on the first show, because at the end of the first dance, I'm sat one end of the city, Lynn sat the other, and at the end of the first dance, her partner spun around and shot her across the floor, and I started laughing. I'm like, what are you laughing at? I was like, come on, fucking look at that. Does that not remind you of dwarf tossing? Hang on a minute, that could be you. So, no, it couldn't, because I will never be allowed on Strictly. She said, I didn't mean that, I meant the dwarf. I said, right, I'll tell you now, it can't, because I know this, I've had this in my life before. To qualify as a dwarf, not that you have to qualify, but to be considered as a dwarf, it's 58 inches or less. And as you fucking well know, I'm 62 inches. And then she said, yeah, but you shrink as you get older. Gosh, isn't it? We have been married 22 years, and it's been hard to keep the romance going. She said, like, maybe when we are being intimate, it'd be nice to have some music playing, just to break the monotony. I thought that she got a point. So I recorded a couple of songs. First song came on, Angels by Robbie Williams. I thought, that'll do. That's thereabouts. I've got to be honest, I think my choice of song number 2, came from Match of the Day, Feel the Mood. And she said, maybe we need to watch something to spice up our relationship. And we were watching a film a couple of weeks back. It was Saturday night, watching a film. It was an American prison thing, and one of the main characters, his job was to smuggle drugs into the prison, and he had them in plastic wraps shoved up his arse. And we sat there watching it, she went, well, that's ridiculous, that would never happen. I said, what? She said, well, those drugs up his arse, because we know how hard it is to get something up there, don't we? And I went, do we? And she went, oh no, it wasn't you. Oh dear, indeed. That's horrible, isn't it? But we also started. We watched a documentary on Channel 5. I don't know if you've seen it, the Great British Sex Experiment.
Yes.
Anyone seen that yet? So we watched one, and in this episode there was a couple, and it's basically about these perfect 30-somethings who want to do something to spice up their sex life. And in the episode we watched, perfect 30-something, perfect hair, perfect face, perfect body, and the man fancied a threesome, and the woman was up for it as well. And we sat watching it, and we were like, oh, we could try that. Sorry? Oh, we could try a threesome. Might have to be somebody compatible, somebody our age. Yeah. I said, you haven't realised if we get somebody compatible on the bed at any one time, we're going to have a combined age of 210. She soon went off the idea then. And then they started whispering things in each other's ears. Oh, I bet they're whispering erotic things. Yeah, probably. We could do that. Yeah, we could, but we'd just be moaning about how fucking little value our pensions are and the wrong pension. And then they started rubbing each other. She said, oh, look at that. We could do that. I said, we do that already. She said, do we? I said, yeah, but it's just to relieve cramp. So, she moaned, she said, like, we've been married 22 years, there's no surprises anymore, is there? And she's got a fair point. So the other night, she's in the bathroom getting ready for bed. I went to the bedroom, turned the lights off, lit the candles, hid under the bed. And when she came in, I just grabbed her ankles. And apparently that wasn't the surprise she had in mind. But she did surprise me just before Christmas last year. She said, you have remembered you're picking me up from my work stool tomorrow. Came as a complete surprise because she's self-employed and works from home. I said, no, that's fine. So I met her at the allocated time. She gets in the car. All I said was, have a nice time. Are you saying I'm drunk? Oh. No, but clearly you've had one or two. Silence for 5 minutes, and then I got, I don't think you love me. In fact, I don't think you've ever loved me. I said, well, I do, I have. Can't guarantee anything going forward, but you know. Right, well, if you love me, you can prove it right now. I said, well, how am I going to do that? She said, you can get on top of me in this car and make love to me. I said, that is not going to happen. She said, give me one good reason. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll do better than that, I'll give you three. What then? Number one, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Number two, we're still outside Wetherspoons in the middle of Gloucester. And number three, we've got your girlfriend Chris in the back of the car because we're giving her a lift home. And that's the thing, she's got a girlfriend. She went away on that cruise 7 nights with her girlfriend. I didn't say, I actually paid for it, right? I wanted 1 night away with my girlfriend to spend that £500 I won. The shit I got from again, we got to that sort of stage in our relationship. She's pretty critical. Like, and New Year's resolutions. One thing I want to do this year was lose weight. And so, like, one way you can help yourself is by wearing all black. It's very slimming. That was clearly a fucking lie. I did a gig a few weeks back, and somebody shouted out, "Oi mate, you wearing all black, you remind me of that bloke in the milk tray advert." Now I do appreciate there's probably some of the demographic in it that will not get that reference whatsoever. Yeah, you get it, right? I said, thanks mate, that's brilliant. Because I'm not tall, dark, or slim, or handsome. He went, no, I didn't mean him, I meant the other one. I said, which other one? He went, you look like the bloke who ate all the fucking chocolates. I tried Slimming World, which is, has anybody ever been to Slimming World? No, of course you fucking haven't. Perfect. But it's basically a public humiliation, that's all it is. It's an opportunity for a bunch of women to take the piss out of you. And I went in, and the first thing I got in there was another couple of newbies. And this lady there said, is your name Nick by any chance? I went, yeah. And I said those 6 words that no bloke wants to hear. You don't remember me, do you? And I'm looking at it thinking, oh God, I didn't do that. No, please. Please tell me she wasn't the one night stand. I mean, I didn't have to think for very long. It was obviously looking like this, I haven't had many. But it turned... no, I fucking have, but I mean... that was a long time ago. Turns out she used to be a temper mine in the 90s, and she said, "You haven't changed." I have, because since then I put on the equivalent of 22 bags of sugar. Like, so clearly, not only does she need to be a slimming world, I think she should go to Specsavers as well. But this lady came up and introduced herself to us. She said, "Oh, my name's Chris, I'm your counsellor." And I was like, "Counsellor? I don't need a fucking counsellor, I just need to stop eating." So just take a seat and we'll have a chat. And I looked down, and this slimming world meeting was at a local primary school. And I looked down at these 2 little plastic chairs and I thought, "Oh, this ain't going to end well." And it didn't, I got stuck in mine. And she said, "Well, I'm going to ask you a question, and just say the first thing that comes into your head." I said, "Oh, well." She said, "Out of anybody in the world, anybody, whose body do you most admire?" And I don't know to this day where it came from. I just said, "Tom Daly." Right? And she said, "You don't look the type." And I've not been back. I've not been back, to be quite honest. But again, we've got to a stage in our relationship where I don't know, it just gets hard. Like, she irritates me all the time. It's nothing major. It's just little things. The breathing. And if we're out in the car, we're coming up to a junction, and I want to turn right, and I'll say to her, "Is it safe to go?" "Yeah." As I'm pulling out, "If you're quick." I'm trying to be a better person as well, because I'm still quite aggressive and I get riled up really quickly, and I don't know if it's just the little man syndrome or the ginger thing. I honestly don't know. And it's the ginger thing, is it? Oh, yeah. It hasn't gone away. It's not getting better, but it's not getting worse, but it's not getting better. And I had an argument with my stepdaughter last Christmas, because I inadvertently used the word Eskimo, right? Around the conversation, and I was at an age, that's just what we used to call them. And she was like, "That is so discriminatory, that is awful." I'm like, "Oh, come on, dear, it's just a bloody word, it's just..." "No, the thing is," she said, "it is discriminatory, and you wouldn't understand that because you've never been discriminated against." "Sorry?" "That you've never been discriminated against." I said, "Right, let me tell you this. I applied for a gig in Bristol last year. It said acts wanted, particularly those of LGBT or POC persuasion. I phoned them up, so I'm interested in the gig. They said, 'Are you LGBT?' I said, 'No.' They said, 'Are you POC?' I said, 'I've got to be honest, I don't know. What does it mean?' They said, 'A person of colour.' I went, 'Yes, I am.' They said, 'What colour are you?' I said, 'Ginger.' They put the phone down. I suffered as a kid with the ginger thing. I don't know if you do. You? It was a name calling more than anything. Copper knob, Duracell, ginger nut.
Carrot tops.
Yeah, you little ginger wanker. And I can remember saying, "Dad, just fucking leave it out." I was thinking about my dad the other day because I was watching something on YouTube, and it was wrestling from the late 60s, early 70s. And I would have been about 6 or 7 then. And after the wrestling, me and him used to reenact it, and I used to try and pin his shoulders to the ground for a count of 3. And the last minute, he'd always just lift his one shoulder. And I think with hindsight, he was just trying to teach me a bit of a life lesson. And I think what he was trying to teach me was no matter how hard things are, if you persevere, one day you'll succeed. And the feeling you'll get when you succeed is beyond anything. And I've got to be honest, that feeling when I finally pinned his shoulders to the ground was fantastic. He was 87 in the care home. But it wasn't just that. I can remember I came home January 1963, right? We just gone back to school after Christmas, came home. "Mum, can I have a word?" "Yeah, what is it?" He said, all the other little boys in school were talking about the presents they had Christmas Day." She's like, "And?" "Well, I didn't get any, did I?" She went, "No, you didn't. And there's a very good reason for that." I said, "What is it?" And she looked me in the eye. I was 5. She looked me in the eye. "Santa don't stop for ginger kids." Yeah. To be honest, it was the best advice ever, because I've had 2 ginger kids. I spent fuck all on them. I'll just tell you this before we go. You're a carer, aren't you? You're the carer.
Yeah.
So, Mum died in 2019. She had dementia, and she'd never seen me do stand-up. And one of the things she said was, "Will you talk about me when I'm gone?" I thought, it's not really appropriate, is it? She said, "Well, no, because it'll be a way of keeping my memory alive." And I don't know, there's probably people in here that have known people who are affected by dementia, and it's a horrible disease. And Mum had it, and she was really bad. And there's 3 traits that dementia people have. One is they're paranoid. They think people are in their house. They lose things, but they think they lose things. They don't really think people are stealing them, and they wander. Right? And Mum had all 3. And she last wandered on September the 13th, 2019, and she was picked up. Luckily, she was picked up by the police. And when the police picked them up, she was taken to Gloucester Hospital, and then the police assigned a safeguarding officer. And I got a phone call on a Tuesday to say, "I'm PC Davis, I'm your mum's safeguarding officer. I need to check on her, make sure she's all right. Can you meet me at the hospital?" "Yeah, that's fine." So I met him at the hospital, and he was walking up to the ward, and I said, "So you've been in the police long?" He went, "Yeah, about 20 years. "How long have you been on this duty?" He said, "Only about a month." I said, "Okay. Word of advice, don't believe a fucking word she says." Right? So we got up to the ward, and it's fairly quiet, and there's about another 7 people in there, and they're all talking to their families and loved ones. That's fine. And Mum's in the bed nearest here, and we're going, "All right, Mum? Yeah. This is PC Davis here. All right. You come to arrest me?" And he's like, "No, G. No. You're all right. You're fine, G. I've not come to arrest you." "Have you come to arrest Nicholas?" And he's like, "No. No. Why would I arrest Nicholas?" "Well, he's only just been let out of prison." Right, and he fucking looked at me. "Have you only just..." I said, "No, remember what I said." "She doesn't know." "Because of course he murdered his brother." And I'm like, "Mum, that didn't happen, did it? You remember Tim died in 2009, he had heart disease, he was 47, can you remember that? It was pre-medical. Well, that's what you would say, isn't it? By now, the volume in the room had gone down. People were listening. 5 minutes later, she came out with the classic, "And of course, he made me have sex with him before we were married." This woman across the other bed said, "That is disgusting." I'm like, it didn't happen, did it? Like, she's ill. She doesn't know what she's saying. I can't deal with this. I'm sorry. We got to go. We'd only been there 5 minutes. But grabbed the policeman walking out. And just as we're going out, just under her breath, but loud enough for the policeman to hear. And I don't know to this day whether she knew what she was saying or whether she just said it deliberately. Was, "It's that poor dog I feel sorry for." And we got outside, and I said to the policeman, "I'm sorry you had to experience that." He went, "No, it's fine. It was quite traumatic. I've got to be honest." I said, "Yeah, but that's just what she's like." He said, "I do need to ask you one thing though." I said, "What's that?" He said, "All that stuff she said." I said, "Yeah. Well, was it true?" I said, "Well, no, clearly it wasn't true. But have you got a dog?" "Well, yeah." And he was like, "Oh. So that bit's true then." And he fucking looked at me, and I'm walking around thinking, he thinks I murdered my own brother and I've really just been let out of prison. But that's a nice cheery story to end Christmas on, isn't it? Anyway, you've been lovely. Thank you very much, Hereford. Good night.